Now you see me use this setup a lot over the years. And it's one of my favorite setups because it's so quick and easy and you can get a tremendous amount of work done in a short period of time. Super convenient, and hey, it's a band, so this setup can go anywhere. And that's why I like it. But there's a problem. One of the biggest mistakes people are making is with this setup is they're tearing up their bands, and the reason they're tearing them up is because they're not paying attention to where their foot is in relationship to the surface that they're standing on, and subsequently they're grinding in the band into the surface. They're also overstretching the band by taking and putting too much tension on the band between their feet. Let me show you what I mean by those. First of all, what people are doing is when they stand on the band, they're not putting it through the arch of their foot. Now your arch has a normal concavity that they can go ahead and use to go ahead and sit the band in, so it sits right into that arch of your foot. So that's going to be one key thing to making sure that the band is not getting rubbed into the surface. The second thing they're doing is they're not going ahead and letting the band be relaxed between their feet. Very simple way to do that. Let the band relax in your hand, wiggle your feet around, and instantly the band becomes very loose. Notice as I pull the band up, if I pick up my feet, the band slides around my foot and tightens up in between. But if I let my band drop down and I loosen my feet, the band slides together and it gets soft in the middle. Now you press down with your feet and you've got resistance all the way through the range of motion while you're doing this. So that's the key. Let the band relax, wiggle your feet around, and get it loose between your feet. That's really important. You do that, you're going to cause minimal tension between your feet on the band. Subsequently, you're going to go ahead and not damage your band by overstretching it. Now let's talk about standing on the band and the surface. Very simple, guys. If you're going to train on asphalt, concrete, you're going to probably damage your band because those surfaces are very, very rigid. Ton of friction on there. It's going to tear up the band. Couple things you can do. Number one, put down a simple yoga mat and train on a yoga mat. Buy old carpeting and put the old carpeting down as a mat and let people stand on it. Go ahead and put a towel down, a simple towel down on the floor that they can stand on. All of those things are going to make that friction from the surface decrease and subsequently put less pressure on your band. That's the first way of going ahead and avoiding tearing your band. The second way to avoid tearing your band against the surface is to go ahead and just not rub your feet against the surface. You know, we go ahead and we stand like this and we do typical exercises like high pulls or overhead presses. Now our feet aren't moving, but I know a lot of you, and you like to do these jack presses and those types of things where your feet are moving. Or you're doing simple lateral walks, which is an okay exercise. We prefer it to be done with a dynamic stabilizer, but if you're using this band, okay, but you've got to go ahead and make sure that you are taking the appropriate steps and not overstretching between your feet, and you're not rubbing the band against the surface. My recommendation is if you're doing band lateral walks, you've got to be very, very careful with that because a lot of people are going to go ahead and damage their band. My suggestion is go to a dynamic stabilizer. It's designed for that exercise. It works better for that exercise, and there's so many other things you can do with it. So that's my recommendation about that. If you're going to do lateral walks, you've got to make sure you pick up your feet, and you got to make sure you don't overstretch the band between your feet. All right, so that's the key. That's the key to not only protecting your band during that exercise, but making sure the band isn't getting rubbed against the surfaces as you're training. You start eliminating those things, and you start training with what we call the bilateral attachment onto the feet, and you're going to have a lot of great workouts. But you rub your bands against the floor surface, you rub them against the surface, you go ahead and overstretch it between your feet, you're going to probably go ahead and cause that band to tether and get damaged quickly, and subsequently you're going to have tearing the band. Hope that helps you out. That's the number one mistake that people are using when they're going ahead and doing attached free training where they're hooking the band around their feet.